Welcome everyone to today's tutorial. I'm your host Random Sparks, and we are going to be getting into the North Dakota Modding and Mapping NDMM Exact Mix Spray System. I have been really looking forward to this mod, and I bet you guys have too. I've had the privilege of testing this for a few weeks now, and it is finally going to be available for you guys to have early access to via NDMM's Patreon. So make sure to go follow NDMM or Dakota Modding and Mapping on Facebook and check out the progress. We're going to be running through some of the basics, not going to be getting too in depth. I mean, there is a how-to, a PDF, and I'm sure most of you guys know how to read, so I'm going to leave that for you guys. But I'm going to cover some of the things that might not be covered in there, or things that might be left to assumption. I'm going to try to cover some of that, so let's get into it. So the very first thing before we even start open the game, you're going to want to look through the Exact Mix and Spray System for Dummies. No nonsense guide. And this kind of runs you through everything you need. Obviously, I'm going to be covering quite a bit of this in the tutorial here, but trust me, just go through this. I'm not getting into every detail. I'm just going to be doing a kind of quick overview of everything. So we have some control binds here, the mixer menu, and all that stuff. We'll get into that. The crop programs, the products that you need for each crop. I'm going to be getting into a couple of these. Nothing too intense. Prices of everything. More information and more information. Basically, this covers spraying on the wrong crop. You're not going to know you're spraying on the wrong crop right away, so you're going to want to double check what you're spraying on, because it won't be until the next in-game day. 12 in-game hours before you can see what happens, roughly. So make sure you're spraying the right product. Got some troubleshooting here. If you're having any troubles, see this first. If you're still having persistent issues, either leave a comment or be sure to send NDMM a message or join his Discord, which if you're on his Patreon, you should have access to Discord. Join that and post in there as well. And then we are going to cover the weed pressure as well. Just a quick overview of that, because that's kind of a new feature. So let's get into it. So these are the mods that you're going to want to be having activated. You have the NDMM Exact Multi System and the NDMM Sprayer Mixing System, as well as his spraying trailer. Alright, I've got my example fields loaded in. We've got some barley here growing with nothing prepared on it for herbicide. We have corn planted here with nothing prepared, no pre or post. And then I have some beans growing here, some soybeans growing with no pre or post on that either. This is kind of the weedy example. So we're just going to leave that. We're not even going to touch this field. But first thing, obviously, you're going to want to buy yourself a sprayer. I am going to use the in-game case 4450. Buy that. I don't have enough money, though. That is easily remedied. Buy a bunch of 9s. And we're going to buy him. Actually, I'm going to put the wide tires on him for our pre. And then also you're going to need a semi and a trailer. Let's buy this guy to pull our tender trailer. The tender trailer is probably one of the most crucial parts of this whole operation. So we're going to go to the mods and DLCs. This is going to be the easiest spot to find what you need. We're going to start with the trailer. He has included the Demco steel step deck here. Buy that. Then we have 2 tanks included. Front one and the rear one. Kind of self-explanatory. One goes on the front, the top deck. The one goes on the back, on the bottom deck. They are color customizable. I realize I am missing a mod, but that's fine. The tank is also color customizable, but that might require Thunder's design kit mod. Alright, so let's figure out what we got here. So, okay, this one is facing forward, so that means it's the back. Should be facing the direction that you need. Let's hook this guy up here, and I'm going to shut off my automatic engine start, which I believe is... Or nope, not in here. And you can use your semi of choice. And these just attach with the normal Q attach key. And then we're also missing, it's be in this section here, the mixer. Also color customizable. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And that got put over here. And obviously you can use a forklift to mount this. Otherwise I'm using Easy Dev and the heavy lifting function of that. So that just hit Q and that attaches too. So, okay, that thing is ready. We also need to consider a water source. And I use BC Bueller's water fill system, but just for this tutorial, I'm going to use the default water tank. Well, I know it works, and I know everybody has that. That's going to go there. And let's prepare to do some pre on our corn ground here, and then we're going to switch over and do post on our grain here, our barley. So let's start on that. Let's get this guy filled with water first of all. Just for my example here, I'm only going to fill one tank with water. If you're doing quite a few acres, you're going to want to fill both. So as you can see on the top left of our HUD, we have our tank and our mixer shown on our selected vehicles up there above the F1 help menu. Another thing to note is we have all the some of the hotkeys listed in the exact mix HUD there. Alt-M, left Alt-M will open or hide this HUD. It should be open by default, so just keep that in mind. Alt-M opens and closes that. So let's fill that with water. It starts by filling the mixer first, but I'm going to go ahead and keep filling, and it's going to start filling this tank. So I want to start off with my corn pre. So we are going to consult our handy-dandy guide here, and we're going to go up to all crop programs. Gaboing, we got corn pre. That doesn't take much. We need triple flex, and it is 32 fluid ounces per acre. So I'm going to do a little math here. We're going to figure out how much we need. Not a lot, because this is a small field. I believe it's a roughly 6-acre field. 5.96, I'm going to call it 6. So let's just do a little math here. So 32 times 6 is 192, and there is 128 ounces in a gallon. So the math there brings me to 1.5 gallons that I need for it. So I really don't need to buy much of that. But if I were doing a large field, we would certainly buy more. So I need to find triple flex. Or am I doing, yeah, I'm doing corn pre-emergent. And there are optional ingredients here as well, which this recommends I use none. But let's say we're doing our corn post. It recommends AMS and drift retardant. But we're not doing that right now. We're just going to start off with this easy one ingredient plus water. So we're going to select that. So yeah, triple flex. Let's go see what we can find in here. First one for the tote. But I'm not using that much. You guys might. I just got to do a little math. Or just, if you feel like it, just buy the tote. I'm going to buy both for our example here, our just testing purposes. And triple flex is right down here. I'm going to buy that. And for those of you that will be running boxes, which is going to be most of you, you're also going to want to buy this tote cage. This attaches to the trailer and is perfect for holding your boxes. Let me get my heavy lifting on here. This guy sits right here, roughly. And I have a box. He is going to go sit in that cage. And then we have our tote here. And you're going to want to take note of this. This does not have the nozzle on this side. It has the nozzle on this side. Now, normally I'd be doing this with a forklift, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to cheat. So that can go, this guy can go attached to any of these hoses, just as long as the valve is facing inside of the trailer. So I could go there, or we could rotate it the other way. We could go into that spot or this spot. It does not matter. As long as the valve faces these fittings here. That's the word I'm looking for. Fittings. This guy is roughly in this area here. Got the triple flex, and he doesn't want to attach yet. Let's rotate him. Some doesn't attach, flip the other way. It might attach the other way. There we go, tote cage. And we are ready to unload our corn free into our sprayer. Let's fire this guy up. Beautiful sprayer. I love these things. And do I have crop destruction on? I might, but these might be before the crop destruction stage. So, you're probably wondering, how do I fill this sucker? Well, let's hop in the truck and figure that out. So I'm in the truck, and I currently have my tote cage selected up at the top left there. You can see that one is highlighted. I'm going to hit G. I got the truck, I've got the trailer, I've got the rear tank, I've got the front tank now. And now I have the green, the center mixer is selected. Now that that is selected, I'm going to hit the O key. That is O. And you're going to have this fancy lightsaber looking line pop out, similar to BC Bueller's fiber dash trailers. If you're familiar with that. This is a marker. This is an unload marker. So where this line is, it is mouse controlled. It moves where your unload point is. It's super freaking handy. I love these things. So basically, I'm going to pull the sprayer underneath that. I try to line it up with the tank. It kind of depends on where the exact fill route node of your sprayer is, but that's kind of a good bet typically around the tank. Might have to play around with that a little bit, but I know that's where it works on this thing. So we're going to hop in there. And I want to load for about 6 acres, so I'm going to keep an eye on my exact mix HUD. There is acres remaining. I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to hit R here in a second and watch my acres remaining go up. And I hit R and I stopped it because it goes a little fast. So I've got 1 acre loaded right now. Go a little farther here. 3, 4, 5, 6.5. So I've got a little extra on there, but that's fine. Sometimes you want a little extra. You can always empty it out with easy dev tools. At some point, Bob is going to have an empty function on there, but he does not have that set up yet. So if you don't have easy dev controls mod, grab that because you can go in here. I have my sprayer selected, yep, and then I'm going to hit empty on fill unit 1. That is our spray fill unit. Fill unit 2, that's your diesel. You don't want to empty that. Or the def, you don't want to empty that either. We want fill unit 1 for the sprayer. So, let's get this bugger set up. We're going to unfold. We're going to set up our GPS line. But before we start this, we're going to look over here. We have a few new menus here. We have the weed pressure here. Now, we will get into weed pressure here shortly, but just so you know, that's where this menu is. It's at the very far end. It'll be right next to your precision farming. So we have pre and post residual. Right now, we have nothing. Nobody has anything on their fields. They have not done a pre. They have not done a post. It is grayed out here. We got nothing. So we're going to spray a little bit of our pre here. And you're going to see that change. Look at that. And it does not necessarily stay in your field boundaries, just so you know. So you have the potential to waste some product on edges as well. Keep that in mind. And there are section control shutoffs, automatic shutoffs, so you cannot spray on the same thing twice. So you don't have to worry about turning your sprayer on or off at the end. And there you can see it shut off automatically when we hit the spot we already applied. And we're going to back up and do this last pass here. And we're getting just a little bit of overlap. It says applying nozzles 95%. So we've got 5% overlap here. It is not spraying that extra 5%. So that's exactly what we want. It prevents you from overlapping and wasting extra chemical here. Alright, and that field is done. We've got a little bit left over, but that is fine. Like I said, we can always easy dev that out until a new unload system is made for the mod. So next, we need to load up some serial post. Serial post is what we're going to get ready next. Line this guy up again. I'm going to unload him. I'm going to get him empty. Yes, sir. And you can hide that again. You just hit O, I believe, twice, and there that disappears, but I'm going to keep it on there. I'm going to keep him So I am going to unload my triple flex off of the trailer here. So I have that tote selected up top there. It's highlighted. I'm gonna hit Q and boom. He's unhooked, so we can pull him off of there. You can go hang out here, my friend. So I'm gonna set my store point there, and we need to figure out what we need for serial post. Serial post. We need Quellex, and water. It does recommend MSO as well. Like, I don't know if I said this before, but these are not required. It's just if you want a little extra realism, you can use it, but they have no effect on the game as of right now. So I have that selected. We need, look at the Quellex there. Serial post, 0.9 ounces. So I'm just gonna buy the box for that. In fact, I don't know, is there even a tote for it? I don't think there is, so sometimes you don't always have the option. Most of them, there are both, but for this one, I just have the little box. We're gonna load him up here, and you know what's kind of cool? We can leave the triple flex in there. That's not gonna affect anything. It will only load what it needs. All right, we've got that. And we're gonna pull the sprayer up. Just again, make sure to double check what you're spraying here. Don't leave any corn pre and then go spray your barley. You will kill it, and you won't know it for about a full day until it's too late. All right, and this field is after our save game. We're gonna figure out how many acres it is. 4.21. Okay. Actually. Oh, I'm missing the MSO. Oh, it does require that. Oh, probably because I selected that. I did select MSO on, so what happens if I select MSO off? Yep. Okay, let me do that. But I want it to be on just because of my example. There we go. Select program. Yes. I forgot about that. So you can turn it on or off. But if you have it selected, it will require it for the mix. But you can always go in and turn it off. So there's our MSO. And we can continue filling that guy, which actually almost the point where we need him. Missing crop oil. Oh, did I buy the wrong thing? Oh, there we go. That's the one I wanted. It recommends either one, I guess. That's fine. We'll just run that one. And we are well overfilled there. And I'm gonna leave my chubby tires on there. We're gonna leave them thick. And we're gonna look at our menu here, actually. And as you can see, we got all the pre done on there. And here we're going to have our post show up. And that pre, I didn't cover that. That pre is good for 3 months of weed protection. So we could let that corn grow a little bit before putting on your post, if you wanted to. Otherwise, you could still put it on right away. And we are putting down 5 months protection of post. It says it there, as well in our exact mix HUD there. It says protect 5 MO. That's protection for 5 months. And just for speed's sakes, I'm going to round the corners. Normally, you're going to want to butt up to the edge of them, but I'm feeling lazy right now. As you can see, we have no weed protection there. Oh, there could be more weed pressure building up there, which again, we will touch later. And you can see this is reducing our weed pressure. Our post is reducing our weed pressure. The pre does not reduce weed pressure. It just kind of protects your crops from growing the weeds until it wears off, if that makes any sense. Some of it goes a little bit over my head, but that's fine. I'm a little slow. And we had just a little sliver there I think we missed, but I'm going to leave that. Because I can. And I'm lazy. And you know what? I'm a bad farmer. My weeds are going to keep growing in my beans. I'm going to be a bad farmer here. And we got a lot of weeds in there. Yeah, we do. Alright, we're going to fast forward and see what happens. Alright, we moved along. We gained some growth here. Everything is growing. Our weed is looking like a really good crop in there. That's going to be better than the beans. And we have some good protection on our barley yet, and some decent pre left on our corn. So we have some post-residual. We're down to 4 months. That took a month off of there. Our pre took a month off of there. Now I could go ahead and start spraying my post on here as well, and it should get me to harvest post last 5 months, so that should get me there. So I might go ahead and do that right now. I'm gonna put my skinny tires on this guy. Maybe I don't have store deliveries on. Never mind. Or universal equipment. I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't edit this guy right here. So we're gonna run the fatties, or I'm gonna buy a different sprayer. That works too, because I want to run the skinnies on there. I don't want to destroy my crop. We're buying you, sir. Thank you. All right. So now I need to load up some corn post-emergent. So I don't have any totes loaded on. That's good. That's what we want. Let's see what we need. Corn post-emerge. We need Acuron, Atrazine, Roundup, and water. We also, recommends AMS and adjuvant, which, like I said, you don't need it. If you don't want to run that, just set it to off. Optional, not recommended. Doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you. But if you want to play realistic, as I mentioned, we're going to run it. So, I need quite a bit of Acuron, a fair bit of a little bit of Atrazine. I'm going to get that in a box, and then my Roundup I'll get in a tote. So let's start with Acuron. By you, sir. Thank you. And then we need Atrazine and Roundup. I'm going to buy Roundup. Where'd you go? Right there. And some of this stuff is expensive, so if you can get away with getting it in the box, I would recommend getting it in the box. Atrazine. Then what else did it want? It wanted... Well, and it wanted AMS and drift retardant. Oh, drift retardant right there. We're going to buy this guy. And then I'm going to buy the Atrazine, or yeah, the AMS, excuse me. On this pallet here is attachable. So once again, we're going to pay attention to where our nozzles are, which is on the other side. I'm going to rotate this guy because I want him there. This guy is going to face this way. Again, it doesn't matter where you put them, just as long as they're facing the correct direction. So what do we have here? We've got our Atrazine. He can go sit in here with our other stuff, which again, the ingredients, it's not going to use this other stuff. This is our drift, our anti-drift. Then this guy is attachable to the back here. I think maybe that way. If not, it's the other way around. Oh, oop. Okay. So yeah, if you can't get any one of these, either the tote cage or this guy to attach, or if you part these guys up, just turn them around and they will attach. So we have corn post-emergent ready. And so let's just say I was going to load this sprayer up. I still have the old acres applied and the product applied. I want to reset that. I want my numbers to be zeroed. So I'm going to hit left alt and R again, and that resets it. So if you're just using one sprayer, that's going to be a handy tool to remember. For when you're switching fields or switching crops. So we're going to fill this guy. We need about, oh yeah, it's 6 acres is what that field is. This is loading a little slower, so that's kind of nice. We can shut it off around the time we need the acres or the gallons we need. All right, and it loads a little bit extra. That's all right. All right, so as you can see, we have no post on yet. And our weed pressure is still on the 29%. And we are going to see a reduction in that. And boom, we are done. We have a reduction in our weed pressure here. And we still have our pre-residual doing its thing. But we've got the post, so not as concerned with the pre anymore. We've got 5 months protection, which should get us to harvest. And we had a little bit wear off on our barley there. So we're going to move forward and see how this looks after a little bit. All right, we have moved forward. Our barley looks immaculate. We had good weed protection on there. Our corn is clean. It's good. Our beans look like crap. We got weeds galore in there. The weed pressure is increasing. Let's have a look at our menu here after our save, of course. Take a look at our weed pressure. So, yep, that is increasing. We're going to see even more as we let it go. Our weed pressure there has increased on our corn and our barley. That has been reduced. The pre has been reduced. It's 1 month remaining on that. But again, that's not much of an issue because we still have quite a bit of post residual on there. That has reduced to 3 months on our barley. But it is ready to harvest, so we're going to get that off of there. And we're going to probably still have some residual after we harvest. So we're still going to have some weed protection on there. So I think the next thing we're going to get into is tillage and its effect on the weed pressure. So I'm going to assume that you guys can read, and you can read through this, but I'm just going to cover the basics. Plowing and cultivation or any tillage will have an effect on the weed pressure, which is the chance of weeds spreading, the risk of weeds spreading. So the lower the risk, the less your weeds are going to spread. The higher the risk, the more weeds you're going to get. It's going to be terrible. So no-till guys, you're going to be seeing a bit of an increase in weed pressure. It's the way it is. That's how that works. Tillage guys, you're going to see a reduction. You're not going to be out of the weeds entirely. No pun intended. You're not going to be out of the weeds entirely. You're just going to lower your risk for weed spread. So, plowing. Big dogs doing full tillage. Bring out them chisel plows. Bring out the rippers. Hell yeah, do tillage. You're going to reduce your weed spread chance, your weed pressure, by 40%. Let's take a look. 40%. So, if I were to plow this guy, he would lose most of his weed pressure. I don't think it takes it off entirely, but you'd lose quite a bit of that. If I were to plow these, oh yeah, we'd be seeing some good weed pressure relief there. And then subsoiler reduces it by 30%. Discs and power harrows, 10%. Deep cultivation, I believe, is standard cultivating, I think. It could be normal cultivate, but maybe it's not. That's 20%. And then we have shallow cultivator, 15%. And then we have the planting pass. There is no effect from planting. So you're not going to see anything from that. So I do believe that kind of covers most of the basics. As far as the mixing goes, there is one minor, it's not necessarily a bug, but as you fast forward, you're going to hit midnight. You may see some lag around midnight. Your game may freeze, for lack of a better word. Just let it sit. On this save, it was making me kind of freeze for about 10 seconds, and then it would free up. That's normal. It has quite a bit of loading to do at midnight. That's when crop updates happen, the weed updates happen. So you may get that on this save. It was about 5 to 10 seconds. On my Eldritch save, it was a little bit longer. I was sitting there for about 30 seconds, and then it freed up. So don't worry about that. That is normal. Just wait it out. So Yeah, that covers, I think, most of the basics of the spray system here. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you're planning on grabbing this, make sure to go follow NDMM Modding and Mapping on Facebook, and you can grab the Patreon link there. Highly recommend this mod. He's working on some pretty cool stuff. This is honestly a new favorite of mine. I hated spraying. I hated application of any time, but this kind of makes it a little more interesting and kind of locked me in a bit. So join the Patreon. That'll also give you access to the Discord for NDMM, and you can post any issues or bugs you find there. So please be sure to do that if you're finding any bugs or issues or have any recommendations, things to add. Always looking for some more ideas. You've got a pretty good team that feeds in some ideas and some bug reports. So if there's anything else, I'm going to add it on to the end of the video, but this might be it. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.